Let's see if we can make a distinction between transitive and intransitive verbs. Now, both of these words have the word trans in them, and we'll focus on that for a moment. So trans comes from Latin, and it means across. And then the other thing that is common to both of them is that they go back to the Latin verb ire, and ire means to go. So a transitive verb then literally is a verb that goes across something. And when I think about this, I tend to think of it in relation to a plane, let's say. In fact, there is an airline company, Canadian airline company, that's called Air Transat. So Air Transat, and clearly they have the same idea that a plane goes across the sky and it makes a landing. And that landing, in terms of a verb, is what we call the direct object. So the idea with a verb that's transitive is that it carries an action across to a direct object. It lands on a direct object. If we look at the first example here now, we can see how this works. So the first example reads, please pass the sugar. Pass is our verb. And if we say who or what, so to find the direct object, you want to ask who or what with the verb. Pass who or what. We would say, well, the sugar. So the sugar is the object that's being passed, and that means that pass is a transitive verb. Okay? And in the dictionary, what you would see then is you would see verb transitive. That's what that little abbreviation in the dictionary means, verb transitive. The second one reads, those boys giggle easily. And in this case, again, we have a verb. So the verb here is giggle. Okay. But if we were to say giggle who or what, we can see that easily is not the answer. Easily answers the question how, or to what degree. And easily then is an adverb. So giggle doesn't have a direct object. Giggle is an intransitive verb. And we could abbreviate this to verb intransitive, which is also a Latin abbreviation ultimately. Okay, next one, I will report you. So in this case, report is the verb. And if you say report who or what, then the answer is you. Okay, and you then is the direct object, and report again is a transitive verb. Last one here, she was meditating. Was is our verb, but this one is a little bit different. Was is called a linking verb, and that's because what comes afterwards is redescribing the subject. Now we'll talk about this in a separate movie, but it's good at this point just to be aware that not every verb is going to be transitive or intransitive. And one last point to emphasize, and that's that some verbs can be transitive or intransitive, and it all depends on context. So for instance, if I say she climbed a tree, then you can see, well, this one is clearly transitive because she climbed something. There's a direct object there. Whereas if I just say she climbed and climbed, she's doing a lot of climbing here, you can actually see there's no direct object there and the sentence just stops. So that's really crucial that you don't lock these verbs into being always either transitive or intransitive, but really look at the context and figure out if the verb has a direct object or not.